Greetings, friends of American Reformed Church. We're gathering with you today in this video announcement to let you know a few things about worship here at American going forward in the next few weeks and months. First, though, we want you to know that we miss you and we love you. We know that some of you have questions about when we will worship together in the building again, and quite frankly, we have questions too. Right now, there are more questions than answers even, and every pastor and leader and church is praying and discerning and deciding, and we aren't all doing the same things, if you've noticed, and that's okay.
At American Reformed Church, we attempt to make these kinds of decisions, big kinds of decisions, based upon our mission and our core values. Our mission at American Reformed Church is to be a community that gathers together to be transformed by Jesus, to transform the world through our core values of acceptance, grace, wisdom, and love.
And those values play into this decision. In acceptance, we are prayerfully trying to make decisions that meet the greatest needs for a diverse community dealing with various vulnerabilities.
As we navigate these kinds of decisions, we also are dependent upon grace. We recognize that in making decisions, mistakes will be made. We will take detours and sidesteps, and at times we may fail. And yet in failing, we will covenant to try again, trusting that God's grace will carry each and every one of us through.
In wisdom, we're depending on voices wiser than our own, scientists, researchers, medical professionals, and more.
And in love, we hope to make the decisions that love the body and the mind and the spirit of every ARC community member and every Orange City and beyond area community member in their best interest, showing our love for them and especially our love for the most vulnerable among us.
So what does this mean for us as a community? Well, it means we don't have a lot of concrete answers in regards to when we will worship in the building together again.
We do know that gathering together in close proximity with a group of people increases the likelihood of spreading this particular infection.
We know that singing in groups is one of the activities in the highest level risk of infection spread.
We know that shaking hands and using communal restrooms, passing offering plates, receiving communion together in almost any form, operating nurseries, all of those provide opportunities for the spread of a communal infection.
And we know that there isn't one person in this community that we want to expose to unnecessary risk.
This means, of course, that if we gather now, we will gather in limited groups with really no fellowship, no singing, very limited interaction. In essence, the things that we most long for, that make American Reformed such a special community of faith, the things that we most desire, we most love to do together, we will not be able to do together.
So, for the time being, we will continue to worship as a community of faith, as a church online.
And we'll continue to be intentional about connecting with one another through things like email and telephone and even the good old-fashioned U.S. Postal Service as we send notes and cards to each other in the mail.
We will continue to be the church, spread out in our homes and our communities, adapting and flourishing in a new way, just as the church has always done.
And so that leads to the next question: where do we go from here? And it's important for you to know that the key leaders of American Reformed Church are continuing to listen and to watch and to wonder, to get curious together about when it will be safe for us to gather in person in a way that we can truly live into the very best of our community mission and values.
And also, a small working group has been gathered to think through the logistical aspects of gathering together safely. So looking at those things like everything from the distance that we must sit apart in the sanctuary to mask use in worship, bathroom use, worship practices, cleaning routines, and more.
We want you to know where the leaders of American church are in this discernment. And indeed, it is a period of discernment, and we know that that probably leads to additional questions for some of you. If you have any questions, please call or email with any questions or concerns that you have. You can find our contact information on the website. You can also contact the church by telephone, 712-737-4430. We would be happy to address any questions or concerns that you might have.
We also ask that as a community, you continue to reach out and to let us know if you need specific help in any way, pastoral care, or you have prayer concerns that the community can know about and be praying for.
And we want to continue to encourage you to do what you have done so well for well over 130 years, to continue to be the community of faith of American Reformed Church, to continue to reach out to one another, to check in with one another, to encourage one another, and to care for each other and for the community beyond the ARC community.
So finally, dear friends, please know that we love you so much, that we continue to try to make the best decisions to express that love for both you and our neighbors near and far.
These are unprecedented times, difficult times, and yet we trust that Jesus is the Lord of the church and that Jesus is the Lord of American Reformed Church. We trust that as we come upon this Pentecost Sunday, that the Spirit would continue to unite us to Jesus and to surround us and remind us that we are a community of faith together, whether we are able to gather in person or whether we gather online. May God's grace and peace be with you all.